There's been an angry reaction in Minnesota to the shooting dead of a 37-year-old woman by a federal immigration agent in the city of Minneapolis. Crowds have gathered where Renee Good, reportedly a US citizen, was killed. Let's take a look at what happened. You may find some of the footage distressing. Well, video shows that she was shot as she attempted to drive off when ICE agents were trying to stop her. President Trump said that she had, as he put it, viciously run over an officer, and his Homeland Security Secretary called it an act of domestic terrorism. But attempts to portray the shooting as an act of self-defense were dismissed by the city's mayor. The Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, held a news conference after the shooting, and she gave this description of what happened involving Renee Good.
ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues.
Well, as we've been hearing, the city's mayor took a very different tone and was highly critical of the ICE agents in his city.
We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it. They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people.
Our reporter Madeline Hulpert is at the scene where the shooting took place.
We're here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, just by the spot where earlier today an ICE officer fatally shot a 37-year-old woman in her car. Just behind me, there's a vigil of the exact spot where the incident happened, with roses and candles that have been set up to honor the victim. Officials have offered vastly different accounts of what happened here today, with Trump officials claiming that the woman tried to run over the ICE officer and the officer acted in self-defense. Local officials have said that that's not the case and that the woman was attempting to leave the scene. Tonight, there are about 100 people here protesting peacefully. The vibe is somber. People are keeping warm by campfire and offering people coffee to stay warm. They're shouting insults against ICE. And tomorrow, schools are expected to be closed and more protests are expected in the street. The governor, Tim Walz, has asked protesters to remain peaceful.
Madeline Hulpert. Madario Arredondo is the former chief of the Minneapolis Police Department. He gave this assessment of what happened.
After looking at the video, and, I think the first thing is, we have local and state officials who are certainly saying that they find it disturbing. They also are saying that it's contrary to what how they're viewing it. And then, of course, we have the press conference that you referred to this evening from Secretary Noem in terms of how she has described it. I can tell you, Carl, that when you have these two different narratives and the community wants the truth, that's all ultimately what they want. And certainly all law enforcement officials should want to get the facts and the truth out there. But these conflicting narratives are not helpful at this time. As the reporter on the ground was saying, that there's still vigils going on right now. He's concerned about what will it be like tomorrow. But I think that, one thing, Carl, that I did hear from Secretary Noem's press conference this afternoon, which I had not heard before, was that she had mentioned about wanting to communicate and collaborate, and I think the word was partner, with local officials on the ground that they had not had before. I think that's very important if, in fact, that turns out to be the case. That if they're communicating with local officials, I think that'll be very helpful, because right now, as your reporter just mentioned, some Minneapolitans are feeling a little bit not at ease. They're in fear, and so I think the more that it can be transparent as we move through, Carl, the hours and days ahead with this investigation, updating the community on terms of the processes, where they're at. I think that's going to be very important because right now, obviously, the situation is sort of tense out there right now.